Hail, good morning to all you beautiful, wonderful, self-loving, worthy individuals out there. This is your neighborhood Sensei Fouché. And yeah, I'm just kind of cruising and doing my thing. And something just happened that came across my thoughts for a short conversation. And that's in regards to the tone of your day, as I would state. I was in my workflow doing my delivery game, and I stopped into this location of pickup, and I get into a short conversation with a gentleman that I see pretty frequently, talking about numbers and percentages with tourism, which was very interesting that he questioned my thought on my opinion of the percentages going on from a tourist aspect financially here, numbers and finances, because the finances is going to deal with the attraction numbers or lack of. But anyway, once I finished that short conversation, or extended, to be honest, it could have been longer if I wasn't in my workflow. But once I finished that conversation and walk up to the counter to receive the order, which I assumed was already ready, the other lady asked, if I was also, delivery, and I stated yes. And she agreed that she was also doing that as well. And I wished the other gentleman, of course, a great day. And he returned the acknowledgement. And then I wound up receiving the order. And after receiving the order, I had to exit, of course. But I wish the lady a wonderful day as well. And her response was, "I will try." Now let's hold on to that for a second. I have a little moment in this drive, so I'm going to sew all of this up before I get to my location, and I know exactly where I'm going, so that's why I'm taking the time to do this. She said, "I will try." I'm not going to state myself to be 100% in what I usually will quote that I say most times is, I will, or I'll always have a great day, because by the end of the day, I'm going to reflect and think of the things that went well or could have went worse, and come out of it in the perspective of glass half full more than glass half empty. And I used to always do the same thing as this lady, in my earliest years for sure, as a young adult in New York City and living that stressed out life. And even in Atlanta, with adding on to the stress that I continue to create in my life by how I chose to live my life, due to, my psychological imbalance at that time. And here in these states of America, as I would label it these days, because there's no unity, and the lack of unity is with attitudes as such that I'm speaking of. There's more people in distress than in joy. In this illusion that they call united. There's a lot of miserable people out there just because that's all they know and that's what they identify with. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? Because I used to be that same individual, and I figured out, for me, the path out of that trap. Attitude and direction is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? And acceptance, to even be, a little bit more specific. It is what it is, and, what kind of adjustments are you going to make based on, what's happening or what you know. It's easy to be frustrated, and there's a whole lot worse that could be happening or going on, if you really, really was to, be deeper into a proper processing. You know what I'm saying? But anybody that really wants to reflect, like, really think about that. You know what I'm saying? The lady told me, after I wished her a great day as well, she replied, "I will try." And it wasn't even in a tone of, optimism. It was in a tone of distress. Like, it was extremely noticeable that, she chooses, frustration or despair. And I don't know her, like, personally, but, you're around enough people to get, like, a general temperature based on, the words they use and, the physical actions behind it. And like I said, I'm not perfect, you know what I'm saying? Because I have my moments where I have to restrain and refrain from being, not only vulgar, but, very unapproachable. Because that's something that I want to avoid. You know what I'm saying? But we all have our moments where we have to be in the deepest of thought or processing. And then there's a level of control and acceptance that must transpire in order for that process to not be projected outside of yourself towards others that haven't caused or are immediately the cause of, the cause of the distress. So anyway, just kind of ponder on that for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Not only how you, respond to the tone of the day, but, how you receive the tone of the day and how you choose to move through the day within a certain tone. And, what usually happens when you follow through in certain thought processes during the course of your day. So on that note, I'm going to say, be smooth in unity. 1.